Welcome back to the Human Nexus podcast. My name is Andrew Brazis. I'm a business and marketing consultant and private chef.
Welcome back. My name is Miss Laura Machiste. I am a online tarot reader, holistic massage therapist, and energy coach. And today we are talking about astrology. Once again, Astro Talks
Part three.
Part 3. I think I'm going to start with what I just connected about a couple seconds ago of how we had all of the planets aligning this past January the 25th, and supposedly only happens every 18 years. And it seemed like it was a big astrological event, and a lot of things move forward in that sense of even I felt a push towards like being more in alignment as well. Do you feel like you felt anything from that moment?
I kind of talked to you about it via voice memo, but on the 20th, so today's the 29th, so on the 25th, I was extremely exhausted. Like I've had insane levels of exhaustion for absolutely no reason. And so what I've noticed from doing like these full new moon rituals like over the years is like when I have these like what do you call them? Transitional periods, I get really tired and all I do is like sleep for like 12 hours and then I'll like take a 2 hour nap in the day, which is so strange for me because that's normally not what I do. I would say like I can energetically feel it and
Mhm.
that instance felt like my body's like, yo, dude, you need to chill out, rest.
Right. I feel like it's so interesting too because there's like the duality of life where some people they'll be super tired and some people they'll get like a spark of energy. And I feel like for me, it was the other way. I feel like I've been tired and then all of a
Really?
sudden I felt the need to push my energy and be aligned more or less and kind of like expression and action and just where I was going. But you have a Capricorn moon, right?
I do.
So it's interesting that we're talking about astrology right now as well. And I'm pretty sure we had two Capricorn moons in the same month, whether it was this past January or December.
hmm
So that would make sense as to you being more tired than usual. Because if the moon is what is,
I
out
think,
at night,
yeah, I
then
think
that
the
would make
last full
sense.
moon was in Capricorn. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're probably just going right in alignment with your own energy, which is like pretty cool to see how different chart placements play out differently when going through these things and
Yeah, and
astrological events.
and right before we started recording, we were talking about uh just like being aligned or like feeling, what'd you say? You said something like feeling like a planet or like being a part of the planets or something like that.
Right.
And and I like resonate with that so much. Because like after I don't know, like once you're tapped in, it's hard, like it's I can't untap.
Yeah. That's why it's almost like I don't feel the need to look at astrology every day. But when I do have these feelings and I look at astrology, I'm like, oh, okay. Right. That makes sense. And it's almost to the point where now with having this podcast and doing a little bit more, I guess, deciphering on these things and conversating about them, it's actually helping me not just only see my interconnection but the interconnection other people have as well.
hmm
So it's really cool to see that we're going with the planets without even realizing it, and at that point we're just in it.
And I think too that causes like before I was really deep into doing the full and new moon rituals. Like I feel like my life, like I kind of knew, like I had some direction, but I didn't have a lot of context for like what was going on and like why I would feel certain ways. Like for example, being extremely exhausted, right? But then now like you have that planetary alignment and I'm like really exhausted for no reason and I'm not sick. It's like, oh, okay, well then obviously something outside of this is giving me this experience. So it kind of
Right.
like gives me some affirming beliefs. I was going somewhere with that, but I forget. I don't know what direction that was.
I feel like in terms of when my energy wants to recharge, it gives me a subconscious feeling like, okay, it's probably preparing me for something. It's probably because I'm going to
hmm
need this energy that is being filled in this rest and recharge moment. And a lot of the times, as humans, we don't listen to our bodies. So our bodies have to give you a sense where it's like, all right, well, if you're not going to slow down, I'm going to make you slow down. So
Yeah.
that might have been what happened because of we remember to plug in our phones, but we don't remember to plug in ourselves. So you may have just been like on E without realizing it. And that planetary alignment saying, like, you're probably going to need this energy. So we need to refill it because if it's not refilled, then maybe at that time when you needed to have the energy, the body takes in it. It's like, no, never mind. You didn't let yourself rest, and now you're sick. Now you have a kink in your neck. Now you got a stomach virus or something like that, and now you have no choice but to rest. So I feel
And
like
I
it's beneficial you went with that.
Yeah, and I also think of it too, like for me, I look at it as, okay, what was I doing 18 years ago and like what cycles were like started 18 years ago and like what have I gone through in those 18 years and like what's changing and ending. And I very much, I mean, obviously in 18 years a lot can happen, a lot can happen. But I feel like I've come out the tail end of a lot of, I don't know, growth and I mean we
Hmm.
call it like karmic lessons, if you will. Um, So I think the rest is like for me, okay, all this stuff the last 18 years have been crazy. Like now you're resting from that. Obviously you can't rest in a couple of days for that, but I think you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now how long ago 18 years was. So the last time this happened was 2007.
That's insane.
So
I was in high school, freshman in
I
high school.
think I was not in high school yet. I was in middle school. Yeah, that's gonna have to
Yeah.
be going back. But I'm glad you brought that up because now I'm gonna bring up the weird thing that people have been posting about with this
Mm.
18-year planetary alignment. People are digging through movies, and in Hercules, those three little psychic witches with the one eye that they were sharing
The
together.
oracles, I think they are.
Yes, the
Yeah.
oracles. They like Hades wanted to know the future once he supposedly thought he took Hercules' powers away when he kidnapped him as a child. And then those little oracles were saying in 18 years, the planets are going to align. And that's when you can release the Titans and finally triumph over Zeus. And then Hades is like all happy. And then all of a sudden the oracle's like, but if Hercules decides to fight, you will lose. So I saw that in like a minute reel or TikTok or short, whatever it was. And I turned on Hercules and I was like, I want to watch this because it just happened and I want to see like the interconnections. And I thought it was so interesting. And now also putting it together by re saying it, free will. If she
Mhm.
said, the oracle said, if Hercules decides to fight, you will lose. So that is a decision. So I feel like that's where I have this thought, whether I'm right or not. I've seen some of the times where I thought I was right, that all of these super big companies, all like Disney, and they know, they know. They just, why would they tell everyone? So I
Yeah.
feel like there is that unlocking of certain like old movies or businesses where they tried to hint you at certain things. And I feel like in that moment it was like a hint towards like, hey, look, the planets will align, but free will is still an option. This may
Yeah.
be destined to happen, but free will can still be where or how you move around the energy. So I just really liked that, how they kind of gave you the indication of, look, the planets are going to do what the planets are going to do, and it's going to bring fated events. But what you do during these times is important.
Yeah, and it's impacting. Like I don't know, like I don't feel like there's anything really set in stone, which is essentially what you're saying. Like we do have that opportunity to make a decision. Like that's what is that? Like that's the Two of Cups or Two of Swords and Tarot?
Two of Wands.
Oh, Two of Wands. So you have the the decision that comes up.
Hmm.
Um and also like that happens individually and collectively. Like that's happening at the same time. And like I think the last 18 years, like when I was in high school, freshman year or whatever it was, like I was deep, deep, deep into like aliens and like esoteric teachings and just like big pharma, can like just all that stuff, which is insane to say, like being in high school. But and
Hmm.
then the thought of that ever being public knowledge is like wild. But in the last, I don't know, 3 to 6 months, it's like really been out in the public. The last month, it's really been out in the public. Like so
Hmm.
collectively, that's insane to me to think that like there's I don't know, like government. I mean, there's like the US government had disclosure on what UFOs or extraterrestrials or whatever publicly. You have like the whole Luigi executing the, I don't know, big pharma CEO,
Hmm.
which brought a lot of awareness around that. That was like not this month, but it was semi close. So, yeah, I think collectively there's been a lot of big changes too.
Yeah, and bringing up collective now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, in 2007, I started middle school, and I was the first seventh grade class in the new middle school that they built in my town. So I'm gonna jot that down because
Mhm.
now I'm like, hold on, that must mean something. Because when you said the word collective, and I was thinking about 2007 and like how that can connect to the now,
Mhm.
I'm like, huh.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like we see it happen on the individual level, right? And then like I see it happen on a local level. Like these cycles are hitting and influencing local decisions in certain ways. And then you see it
Mhm.
like nationally, and then you see it internationally. And they're all like all these levels, it's happening differently, but um it's still, I don't know, it's still out in the world. Like the energies are still there on those different levels.
Right. Okay. So this makes even more sense because today, on the day we're recording it, is the new moon in Aquarius as well as the lunar Chinese New Year. And
Mhm.
me just connecting the fact that in 2007, I was the first seventh grade class in the new middle school. My grammar school got knocked down this past year. Like the school that went to for like grammar school is no longer, I can never go in there and see ever again where I was. And
Interesting.
it's I feel like I'm getting like connections through this right now. So
Yeah.
I'm like trying to make sense out of it. So I feel like there's something about like teachings and schoolings and like something like that where I feel like since in terms of like source and dimension and like other side vibes, like they look at it as like Earth is a school. So I'm wondering if this is just a new 18-year cycle of us learning something different
Yeah.
or us learning like maybe deeper into the esoteric things that we're once curious about in whatever amount of time. And that would make sense as it why it would happen upcoming of Aquarius season of this year and us having the lunar new year and the age of Aquarius, I mean the Aquarius new moon on the same day in the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
something
wild.
going on. Community, collective, teaching, thinking outside of the box, like destroying and rebuilding. It seems
Mhm.
like it's a theme around this time, and we're going into the year of the snake. What do? They shed skin.
Mhm. And I mean, like not just the US election, but elections are around the same time internationally. So there's tons of, I don't know, divisiveness and tons of elections that are happening or either in process or have had happened. So lots of big, big changes. Um,
Right.
yeah, which is really, really interesting just on the long term.
Yeah, and like as a spiritual individual, like I've felt some type of like collective movement for like a I think since like around like fall of 2024.
Mhm.
And then when the Luigi thing happened, I wasn't really that surprised. I was kind of like, all right, yeah, we moved into the age of Aquarius. People are gonna rebel. That's just what Aquarius sign holds on to, as well. And I just feel like that's also what happened. Okay, teacher, school, schooling, teacher. Okay, I'm getting it right now. Have you ever seen lately there are medical students that are suing their schools for not teaching them about healing through food and going right
Oh,
to medication?
that's insane.
So I feel like we'll have it recorded right now on here that with all of this stuff, there is some type of like relearning, but like also like debunking what we are learning.
Hmm.
And like, why are we learning these things over these things? Like, why didn't I learn how to write a check in high school or in business and ethics class? Like, why did I have to teach that myself? Like random things.
Well, and that's really interesting because in the like collective like tarot energy readings, it's been about like reconciliation, the things coming to light. Um, so I mean collectively, like the energy's there,
Mhm.
which is just crazy. What do you know about the like new moon in Aquarius or like this Aquarius season that we're going into? I don't have a ton of info there, so that's probably more your.
So we have the new moon in Aquarius would indicate like being like bringing love into a situation that you didn't necessarily feel like is loved back. Like for example, like the medical student situation of like I paid all this money to go to medical school, yet you guys didn't teach us about healing through food, but I can hate you. But that's just, I see you did that on purpose because you wanted us to be clouded because you wanted the money. Like kind of what you were saying, like the reveal of it, of saying, okay, now it's revealed in front of my face. I can hate you for it or I can change things for it. So
Mhm.
Aquarius is going to say, don't hate them for it, create a change with it. Like take the reveal, take whatever's happening and figure out how to turn it into a positive situation and doing something different. Aquarius is always going to ask you to think outside of the box, rebel against the grain, like people who think this is the right way and there's no other way you can do something. Things along those lines. Helping other people is big around this time. You may even find like during this Aquarius new moon or in the season in general, you may need assistance or people may need assistance from you. Collaborative energy, stuff like that. Like just today, I'm going to have a collaborative dinner with two of my suite members on the day of the Aquarius new moon. So there's definitely like saying, yeah, this may suck, but instead of hating on it, let's figure out a way to change it. And that's what this new moon in Aquarius is definitely going to bring about to like a lot of people because you can fight evil with evil and just get more evil, you know?
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's also, I would say, kind of like the start of the new year, really. Like we kind of talked about that. I don't think we touched it on the previous podcast, but how like January 1st, astrologically, isn't really like the beginning of the season, like the beginning of the new year.
Yeah. So the months of the year actually tell on themselves anyway. Whoever changed the calendar at whatever point in time, probably the Romans, when patriarchy was like built and stuff like that, and they tried to divide people through religion. Um, there was a like I don't know if it was a video or something I read or both, but the months of the year tell you who they are. So October octagon has 8 sides. So October's telling you it's the eighth month, yet we treat it as the 10th. So December decade is 10. It should be the 10th
Interesting.
month. So January should technically be the 11th month, which would make a lot of sense because Aquarius season starts in January and Aquarius is the 11th zodiac sign.
Oh shit.
February should be the 12th month. So the Chinese and the Lunar New Year, they kind of understand this a little bit, but they're going for the moon only, their own Lunar
Hmm.
New Year. So they're going for like it's kind of like the moon's birthday today,
Yeah.
as well as
Hooray.
them bringing in the new year. But I personally believe that the new year is supposed to start during spring because Earth is telling you new
Hmm.
renewed. So that's why a lot of the times when people make like New Year's resolutions, they don't hold on to them that easily because in January, it's not going to be an easy time for you to hold on to these things because you're at the end of a cycle. You didn't start a new one yet. So Yeah, I feel like that's off, but
No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's, I mean, what the spring solstice is in March, right?
mhm,
Yeah. So that's kind of like would be the, I don't know, not kickoff, maybe like celebratory kickoff there.
right.
Yeah.
But that would make sense to me too. Like if the ancient days, not I wouldn't even say ancient. I would say a little bit further up from that. Like whatever time that they changed the calendar,
Mhm.
they realized that they didn't want civilization to know their power. They took something. They were like, no, 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 we can know this. They can't know this. That's why kind of like I brought up that connection to Disney before too. Is that like
Mhm.
they know this stuff.
Yeah.
They are aware. They know what hits. They know what'll get them. They know when to release a movie. They know at the best time to get this out there, or this out there, and at one point in time, they wanted to withhold that from the collective, and they did an amazing job doing it.
Yeah. I mean, and that kind of goes to show like where astrology is now, because I think it's like getting more normalized, but like 18 years ago, that was not like a normal thing to be talking about. Now I feel like it's kind of a little bit more out there because of TikTok and, it's like social media and stuff. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense, which is so insane.
Yeah, I feel like astrology is definitely going to take a different position as
Mhm.
well. Because that's another thing that rich people hide, that they have
Mhm.
astrologists and they have mediums and they have psychics that work for them. And it's just not something that's talked about. And I feel like with
Yeah.
the age of Aquarius and all of this stuff happening, these things will get revealed, and these things will, you'll either work with them or you don't work with them. And that's where there's also going to be, I feel like, a little bit of a reveal of the dark side of the moon type of energy, where I feel
What
like
do
the
you,
collective is going to start to embrace that a little bit, to realize like it's needed for the light to be found.
Mhm.
And astrologically, we go through things and we have like low moments and we don't know why. But if it's not like you should be blaming it on it, but it
Yeah, it's
gives you
like
that
the dark
sense.
night of the soul for the collective, really.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It
Hmm.
gives you the sense of like, oh, okay, I may not be crazy. And then if you really actually follow it and see when things start moving forward, like I'm going to say in just the vibration of prediction that from this day forward, things are going to start moving. And it just so happens to be that January is ending. January is
Yeah.
a dragging month. So there's just like these like really weird things that I feel like you don't have to say, oh, well, I'm like this because I'm a Leo or a Pisces. Yeah, that's when astrology people, it's like, all right, stop blaming that on your personality.
Mm.
But there are other things that are actually like super helpful.
Yeah.
And that's where there's that like, and I almost feel like that's going to happen with spiritual people too. I feel like the people who are like spiritual on the outside, but not on the inside, those people are also going to get revealed in this next 18-year cycle.
Yeah. And it's really like it's a tool. And I feel like I don't know, this is like any industry or practice, but I mean, you and I both know this, but like when you see somebody who's like outwardly spiritual, but inwardly not, like you can tell. And that, I mean, that's like anything. Like sales is like that, business is like that, like partnerships are like that. Um, so and you're saying you believe that that's going to come more to light.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Because I've intuitively felt the need to be more out there. And I specifically didn't do that out of
Mhm.
fear of like people being like, oh, who's going to believe her or this, that, and the other. But I have enough like evidential proof in my own energy that shit is weird and things happen. But I feel like the people that are outwardly out there and all they want is to look at you as a transaction or as
Mhm.
another click for another couple cents, those people will be exposed in whatever way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
And
when, how,
that's
or why, but I feel like it will.
yeah, well, I think that too is just like karma and like goes, this is what I like try to coach in like the business side is like being aligned with your purpose and like why you're offering a service or a product. Like if you
Hmm.
know those things, you have to expose yourself to like your ego to be like, oh, I was doing it just for the money. So I
Right.
need to realign that, which is kind of like a dark night of the soul in its own way.
Hmm.
And then that doesn't happen in the same way. Like that
Yeah.
being like you're not, there's nothing to expose because you're, I don't know,
I'm like
comfortable.
free willingly exposing myself because I
Yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah.
in the authenticity. Yeah. Which is actually really crazy because in the Pisces reading that I did last weekend,
Mhm.
I pronounce words wrong and I just do it. I know I do it. I'm never going to be perfect. That's just the way life is. I hated school, this, that, and the other, right? Um, and I pronounced the word Magdalene wrong or Magdalene wrong. I don't even know how to say it still because I didn't care enough to look up the right way to pronounce it. Um, but I want to say at least like 5 or 6 people commented on my channel and ripped me. Like, it's Magdalene, damn it. Have you never read her Bible story? This, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, first of all, you don't know me. What if I had a speech impediment? What if English wasn't my first language? What if I was in speech class my whole life and I'm being courageous, putting myself out there, and here you are yelling at me? So I took it upon myself to have a moment with myself, and I'm like, I'm not one of those people that leave comments on my channel to push my engagement. I don't care. I don't
Mhm.
want your energy on my platform. Remove, hidden, deleted. And I feel like those types of people are going to get exposed. The
Yeah,
people that are like, well, bad publicity is still good. No. If you want to receive that energy, then go ahead. And it's only going to get you so far. And you'll see that now in like celebrities. It's already happening. That's just been happening.
mhm.
Celebrities, influencers, stuff like that. And I came to that realization that that was a pivotal moment for me. And it gave me the indication of like, oh, okay, you're not just doing this for a click or a view or this or that. I really want to grow a community that is positive and we're there for each other. We're kind to each
Mhm.
other because there's ways to correct people in a kind way. And just going hand in hand with that, I feel like since that's something I felt and that actually happened to me when the planets aligned on the 25th, I feel like that may be also what's happening to more of that exposure of people that are just doing it just to do it
Yeah.
and not actually caring.
Yeah, and you can tell, like it shows. I believe like over time, like you can only fake it for so long. Or not fake it, but I don't know, be misaligned for so long.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So another planetary alignment cycle was the whole debacle with TikTok here. Was that early January, a couple weeks ago, it getting
Yeah.
banned, and and your data is saying what Vine was banned 8 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, so what I saw was a Venus cycle of 8 years. And 8 years ago, almost to the day that TikTok got banned for like what, 12 hours, Vine got removed. So it's interesting to see that there was a push towards trying to remove another social media app at that same 8 year Venus cycle, which is interesting because Venus rules like pleasure and beauty and like the finer things in life. And a lot of people made more money than they've ever made off of TikTok or finally got noticed on Vine a couple years ago and stuff like that. So I feel like there is definitely something in that alignment as well, which now I just made sense of it. That was a Venus 8 year cycle, and that planetary alignment was an 18-year cycle. So in numerology, the number 8 is like physical movement, like
Mhm.
movement you can see and movement you could touch, movement you could interact with on a physical level. So,
Which is interesting because that's TikTok is very much that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so pay attention to the planetary alignments as best as you can.
Yeah. No, and it's just so interesting to see how it plays out on all the different levels. Um, Next time we should be having a guest, so that's exciting. But thank everybody for listening. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you everyone for being here and for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video down below. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.